Morning, guys. Sorry. I'm going live from my phone now because I'm doing this from my office, and this building is solid concrete, and I don't think the signal is super solid from my laptop, so I'm going to try this again. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. My name is Laura Mazzotta. I am a Reiki and Akashic guide, and I am starting this Meditation Monday series. You may have seen it on my page on Monday. So I just wanted to share a few thoughts really quickly for some work that you guys can work on over the weekend. Morning, Jess. How are you? Are you sick of seeing me? I saw you last night too. So I just had a few thoughts. When we meditate, obviously it's harder to do. It's harder to center our minds and focus when we have a lot going on inside of us, either in our minds, in our bodies, emotionally, energetically. So it's a really good idea to release some of whatever's trapped or going on with you before you dive into meditation practice. So I thought it might be good to give you guys some suggestions as to how you can do some releasing this weekend. So grab a pen and paper and jot down a few of these ideas if you can, so that you can release some of whatever's pent up, if there's anything pent up. If there isn't, then I want to hear from you because I'm really impressed. But release some of this stuff so that you're prepped for Monday when we start doing this work. So obviously the things that we want to release are those negative feelings, right? So anxiety, anger, guilt, shame, things that make us feel weighed down and kind of blah. Depression, sadness. So I have some things that I've written down that I'm just going to share with you. I have some notes over here. Obviously, journaling is one of them. Exercise is another one. But I also want you to expand those a little bit. So with exercise, you can think about, all right, I can stretch, I can do yoga, I can dance. And music is a really helpful tool as well to release. So I know when I get angry, I put on my angry song and I either belt it out or I dance and embarrass my children. But it's really, the idea is to move your physical body because that can release some energy for you. Other ideas are tapping. That's another one for your physical body. And if you're not familiar with tapping, you can certainly reach out to talk to me about it. Another term for it is EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And it's something that you can Google. You can really Google tapping for anything, you name it. Monkey mind, overwhelm, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, sadness. I mean, pick something. You can Google it and access different videos. My clients have told me that they find it to be less effective when they just watch a random video rather than when it's more kind of personalized to them. And what's cool is that the more that you tap and the more that you practice it, you can intuitively come up with your own scripts on your own. And you don't have to rely on doing it with someone else, which I find there's a lot more power in that, to be honest, when I'm kind of channeling my own. So tapping's another good one. One of my favorites is bouncing on my toes. And it's kind of fun too. I kind of feel like I'm younger than I am. But you know, you just kind of like vigorously bounce on your toes. Just stand up and bounce, 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 and it kind of shakes it out. And you can obviously talk to someone else, but pick someone that is not going to rile you up. A lot of times we're naturally drawn to talk to somebody when we're angry or anxious that we know is going to kind of get in there with us and say, yeah, I know how you feel. And then they kind of rile us up. So don't pick that person, but obviously talking and processing it is something that can help us release. Anger in particular, that has the most fun releasing techniques in my opinion. So some of the favorites that I've found over the years and that my clients mention are smashing ice cubes outside. Like if you go outside and you just throw them on the pavement or on the side of your house or something like that and just crush them. Any kind of intense physical sensation. So eating a hot pepper is a release. Jumping in a cold shower, which actually, that makes me really angry. So, you know, you decide what you want to do. Some people hold ice cubes until it actually does hurt after a time. Oh, yelling into the freezer? That's actually a really good one. I recommend that, you know, I tell people, stick your face in the freezer. Or some people like filling a bowl really full with ice and putting water in it and sticking their face into it. It definitely shocks you out of whatever you're in. But it's definitely a physical release. The other one is to take, you know, the technique used to be take a phone book and rip it, but who has phone books anymore? Like, I don't think they make phone books anymore. So take like a really thick piece of paper or cardboard or something and just rip it. Try to tear it. Oh, my fave. This is kind of more intense though. So if you need support around it, you know, let me know. But it's kind of whoever you're angry with or whatever situation you're angry about, you write down, you can write a letter to that person or write a letter to that situation, and then you can tear it up or you can go outside and burn it. And then release those ashes to the earth so that they can rise again with positive energy. Burning is one of my faves, but please be careful and do it outside in a controlled area. Thank you, I have to mention that. Another one is, so I mentioned earlier sound, right? Sound is really productive. And one of the reasons that sound is good is because there's a vibration that goes with sound. So we are changing our vibration when we use sound. That's why when we talk about affirmations, we don't just say, oh, you know, write them down or think about them in your head or read them. Say them out loud, very intentionally. And you can say them out loud to yourself in the mirror, looking yourself in the eyes, which is a challenging technique, but it's super effective if you can kind of push past that initial hesitance that you might have, resistance. So one of the ways that we can make sound other than just saying, you know, our affirmations to ourselves is screaming, growling, that's a favorite, clapping, listening to music, obviously I mentioned, but you can sing as well. Like I belt out my angry songs. And I think the last one that I wrote down here was going outside. Now, outside is very soothing, but for me, it's very releasing too. I know that it's not as like physically involved. You're not releasing physical energy necessarily. I mean, you are if you're walking or doing some kind of exercise, but it feels very releasing. Maybe it's the wind, you know, kind of as the wind blows by me. I just feel like I'm releasing things when I'm outside. But you can also use nature to assist you, like snapping branches, climbing a tree, things like that. Stomping on crunchy leaves, although it's not fall anymore, which is my favorite. Pine cones, things like that on the ground. And that's another point, the last point that I want to mention before I hop off too, is the more that you can incorporate all 5 senses within the same technique, the more effective it's going to be for releasing and grounding yourself, okay? So, for instance, and this isn't a releasing technique, this is more of a soothing technique, but you think about, all right, I'm snuggled under a blanket. I'm always drawn to snuggling under blankets, so that's why that came to my head the first time. But you're snuggling under a blanket, so that's warmth, right, and touch. And maybe you're drinking tea, so that's got warmth. It's also got scent and taste. And then you can have some music on for your headphones, so there's your sound. And you can be looking at something, so you can be looking at a candle. That could be scent as well, and warmth. Or you can have a show on that you really like, or look at a picture of someone that really is close to your heart, or even a picture that you feel is releasing. Like, oh, I picture myself at the beach and I imagine myself there. And yes, it's soothing, but it's also releasing because I'm outside and I can kind of hear the waves. And, you know, as much as you can incorporate all those senses at the same time, the more powerful the experience it will be. So if you need more ideas, feel free to reach out. I just jotted a few notes down before I started work today, and I know there's a lot of other things out there that we can do to release. So I'd love to hear your ideas too. So please feel free to share. And thank you so much for joining me this morning. I can't wait to see you guys on Monday, and have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye.